girls.
Okay, Mom.
Tonight we are reading The Little Foxes. Playing Addie.
Angela Rodriguez.
Playing Cal.
Schildkraut.
Playing Birdie Hubbard.
Nancy Ticknor.
Playing Oscar Hubbard.
Matthew Coyle.
Playing Leo Hubbard.
David Mackler.
Playing Regina Giddens.
Amy Losi.
Playing William Marshall.
David Moseder.
Playing BENJAMlN Hubbard.
Kevin Bain.
Playing ALEXANDRA Giddens.
Maria Camilo.
Playing Horace Giddens.
Harley Diamond.
The scene of the play is the living room of the Giddens house in a small town in the South. Act 1. The living room of the Giddens home in a small town in the deep South in the spring of 1900. Upstage is a staircase leading to the second story. Upstage right are double doors to the dining room. When these doors are open, we see a section of the dining room and the furniture. Upstage left is an entrance hall with a coat rack and umbrella stand. There are larger laced curtain windows on the left wall. The room is lit by a center gas chandelier and painted china oil lamps on the tables. Against the center gas chandelier, against this wall is a large piano. Downstage right are high couch, large table, several chairs. Against the left back wall are a table and several chairs. Near the window, there are a small couch and tables. The room is good looking, the furniture expensive, but it reflects no particular taste. Everything is of the best, and that is all. At rise, a tall, nice-looking woman about 55 is closing the windows. From behind the closed dining room doors, there is a sound of voices. After a second, Cal comes in from the entrance hall, carrying a tray with glasses and a bottle of port. Addie crosses, takes the tray from him, puts on a table, and begins to arrange it.
You gone stark out of your head?
No, smart lady, I ain't. Miss Regina told me to get out that bottle, that very bottle for the mighty honored guest. Miss Regina changes orders like that. You can bet your dime she got a reason.
Go on. You'll be needed.
Miss Anne, she had 2 helpings frozen fruit cream, and she tell that honored guest, she tell him that you make the best frozen fruit cream in all the South.
Did she? Well, see that Belle saves a little for her. She like it right before she go to bed. Save a few little cakes too, she like.
Okay, Cal, I want you to get one of the kitchen boys to run home for me. He's to look in my desk drawer, and my Addie, what a good supper. Just as good can be.
You look pretty this evening, Miss Birdie, and young.
Oh, me, young? Maybe you better find Simon and tell him to do it himself. He's to look in my desk, the left drawer, and bring my music album right away. Mr. Marshall is very anxious to see it because of his father and the opera in Chicago. Mr. Marshall is such a polite man with his manners and very educated and cultured. And I told him all about my mama and papa and how they used to go to Europe for the music. Imagine going over to Europe just to listen to music. Wouldn't that be nice, Addie? Just to sit there and listen. And left drawer Cal, tell him that twice because he forgets. And tell him not to let any of the things drop out of that album and to bring it right back here when he comes back.
Simon, he won't get it right, but I'll tell him.
Left drawer Cal, and tell him to bring the blue book and...
Birdie.
Oh, Oscar, I was just sending Simon for my music album.
Never mind about the album. Miss Birdie has changed her mind.
But really, Oscar, really, I promise, Mr. Marshall,
Why do you leave the dinner table and go running about like a child?
But, Oscar, Mr. Marshall said Most especially, he wanted to see my album. I told him about the time that Mama met Wagner and Mrs. Wagner gave her a signed program and the big picture. Mr. Marshall wants to see that too, very, very much. We had such a nice talk.
You have been chattering to him like a magpie. You haven't let him be for a second. I can't think he came south to be bored with you.
He wasn't bored. I don't believe that he was bored. He's very educated and a cultured gentleman. I just don't believe it. You always talk like when I'm having a good time.
You've had too much wine. Get yourself in hand now.
But what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. What am I doing?
I said get yourself in hand. Stop acting like a fool.
I don't believe he was bored. I just don't believe it. Some people like music and like to talk about it. That's all I'm doing.
Mama, Papa, they're coming in now.
Sit down, Birdie. Sit down now.
Birdie sits down, bows her head to hide her face. The dining room doors are opened by Cal. We see people beginning to rise from the table. Regina Giddens come in with William Marshall. Regina is a handsome woman of 40. Marshall, 45, pleasant-looking, self-possessed. Behind them comes Alexandra Giddens, a pretty, rather delicate-looking girl of 17. She is followed by Benjamin Hubbard, 55, with a large, jovial face and a light, graceful movements that one often finds in large men.
Sorry, 1 second. You're not going to believe this. There's something went wrong with my PDF and I can't read it. I think you're trying to console me. Chicago may be the noisiest, dirtiest city in the world, but I should still prefer it to the sound of our horses and the smell of our azaleas. I should like crowds of people in theaters and lovely women. Very lovely women, Mr. Marshall.
In Chicago? Oh, I suppose so. But I can tell you this. I've never dined there with 3 such lovely ladies.
Our southern women are well favored.
But one must go to Mobile for the ladies, sir. Very elegant, worldly ladies, too.
Worldly, huh? Worldly, did you say?
Your Uncle Ben means that worldliness is not a mark of beauty in any woman.
Of course, Uncle Ben. I didn't mean...
Your port is excellent, Mrs. Giddens.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. We had been saving that bottle, hoping we could open it just for you.
Oh, may I really, Addie?
Better ask Mama.
May I, Mama?
In Mr. Marshall's honor.
Oh, Mr. Marshall, this will be my very first taste of port I've ever had.
No one ever had their first taste of a better port. Well, I suppose it is all true, Mrs. Giddens.
What is true?
That you Southerners occupy a unique position in America. You live better than the rest of us. You eat better. You drink better. I wonder you find time, or want to find time, to do business.
A great many Southerners don't.
Do all of you live here together?
Here with me? Oh, no. My brother Ben lives next door. My brother Oscar and his family live in the next square.
But we are a very close family. We've always wanted it that way.
That is very pleasant. Keeping your family together to share each other's lives. My family moves around too much. My children seem never to come home. Away at school in the winter, in the summer, Europe with their mother.
Oh, yes, even down here, we read about Mrs. Marshall in the society pages.
I dare say. She moves about a great deal. And all of you are part of the same business? Hubbard Sons?
Now, Oscar and me, my sister's good husband is a banker.
I'm so sorry that my husband isn't here to meet you. He's been very ill. He is at Johns Hopkins, but he will be home soon. We think he is getting better now.
I work for Uncle Horace. I mean, I work for Uncle Horace at his bank. I keep an eye on things while he's away.
Really, Leo?
Modesty is the young is as excellent as it is rare.
Your uncle means that a young man should speak more modestly.
Oh, I didn't mean, sir, that...
Oh, Mrs. Hubbard, where's that Wagner autograph you promised to let me see? My train will be leaving soon, and
The autograph? Oh, well, really, Mr. Marshall, I didn't mean to chatter so about it. Really, you must excuse me. I didn't get it because I had a little headache, and...
My wife is a miserable victim of headaches.
Mr. Marshall said at supper, but he would like you to play for him, Alexandra.
It's not I who play well, sir. It's my aunt. She plays wonderfully. She's my teacher. May we play a duet? May we, Mama?
Oh, thank you, dear, but I have my headache now.
Don't be stubborn, Birdie. Mr. Marshall wants you to play.
indeed I do. If your headache isn't...
I'd like to, sir, very much.
Very remarkable how you Southern aristocrats have kept together and kept what belonged to you.
You misunderstood, sir. Southern aristocrats have not kept together and have not kept what belonged to them.
You don't call this keeping what belongs to you?
But we are not aristocrats. Our brother's wife is the only one of us who belongs to the Southern aristocracy.
My information is that you people have been here and solidly here for a long time.
And so we have since our great-grandfather.
Who was not an aristocrat like Birdie's.
Make great distinctions.
Oh, they have been made for us, and maybe they are important distinctions. Now you take Birdie's family. When my great-grandfather came here, they were the highest tone plantation owners in this state.
My mother's grandfather was a governor of the state before the war.
They own the plantation Leonette. You may have heard of it, sir.
No, I've never heard of anything but brick houses on a lake and cotton mills.
Leonette in its day was the best cotton land in the South. It still brings us a fair crop. Oh, they were the great days for those people, even when I can remember. They had the best of everything, cloth from Paris, trips from Europe, horses you can't raise anymore, and niggas to lift their fingers.
We were good to our people. Everybody knew that. We were better to them than...
Why, Birdie, you aren't playing.
But when the war comes, these fine gentlemen ride off and leave the cotton and the women to rot.
My father was killed in the war. He was a fine soldier, Mr. Marshall, a fine man.
Oh, certainly, Birdie, a famous soldier.
But that isn't the tale I am telling, Mr. Marshall. Well, sir, the war ends. Leonette is almost ruined, and the sons finish ruining it. And there were thousands like them. Why? Because the Southern aristocrat can adapt himself to nothing. Too high tone to try.
Sometimes it is difficult to learn new ways.
Perhaps. Perhaps. You're right, Mr. Marshall. It is difficult to learn new ways, but maybe that's why it's profitable. Our grandfather and our father learned the new ways and learned how to make them pay. They were in trade. Hubbard's sons, merchandise, others, Birdie's family, for example, looking down on them. To make a long story short, Leonette now belongs to us. 20 years ago, we took over their land, their cotton, and their daughter.
May I bring you a glass of port, Mrs. Hubbard?
No, thank you, sir. You are most polite.
You are boring, Mr. Marshall, with these ancient family tales.
I hope not. I hope not. I'm trying to make an important point for our future business partner.
My brother always says that it's folks like us who have struggled and fought to bring to our land some of the prosperity of your land.
Some people call that patriotism.
I hope you don't find my brothers too obvious, Mr. Marshall. I'm afraid that they mean that they have only a few, sorry, lost my place. I'm afraid that they mean that this is the time for the ladies to leave the gentlemen to talk business.
Oh, not at all. We settled everything this afternoon. Oh, I have only a few minutes before I must leave for the train, and I insist they be spent with you.
And with another glass of port.
Thank you.
My sister is right. I am a plain man, and I am trying to say a plain thing. A man ain't only in business for what he can get out of it. It's got to give him something here. That's every bit as true for the nigger picking cotton for a silver quarter as it is for you and me. If it don't give him something here, then he don't pick the cotton right. Money isn't all, not by 3 shots.
Really? Well, I always thought it was a great deal.
And so did I, Mr. Marshall.
No, you don't have to convince me that you are the right people for the deal. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't convinced me 6 months ago. You want the mill here, and I want it here. It isn't my business to find out why you want it.
To bring the machine to the cotton and not the cotton to the machine.
You have a turn for neat phrases, Hubbard. Well, however grand your reasons are, mine are simple. I want to make money, and I believe I'll make it on you. Mind you, I have no objections to more high-minded reasons. They are mighty valuable in business. It's fine to have partners who will so closely follow the teachings of Christ. Oh, and now I must leave for my train.
I'm sorry you won't stay over with us, Mr. Marshall. But you'll come again, anytime you like.
Fill them up, boys, fill them up. Down here, sir, we have a strange custom. We drink the last drink for a toast. That's to prove that the Southerner is always still on his feet for the last drink. It was Henry Frick, your Mr. Henry Frick, who said, railroads are the Rembrandts of investments. Well, I say, Southern cotton mills will be the Rembrandts of investments. So I give you the firm of Hubbard, Sons and Marshall, Cotton Mills, and to it a long and prosperous life.
The children will drive you to the depot. Leo, Alexandra, you will drive Mr. Marshall down.
Yes, sir. Not often Uncle Ben lets me drive the horses, and a beautiful pair they are. Come on, Zan.
May I drive tonight, Uncle Ben? Please, I'd like to, and...
In your evening clothes. Oh, no, my dear.
But Leo always...
I'm sorry.
I don't like to say goodbye to you, Mr. Marshall.
Oh, then we won't say goodbye. You have promised that you would come and let me show you Chicago. Do I have to make you promise again?
I promise again.
Goodbye, Mrs. Hubbard.
Goodbye, sir.
Remember.
I will. And there, Birdie, goes the man who has opened the door to our future.
What?
Yours and mine, Ben's and Oscar's, the children, our future. Oh, you were charming at supper, Birdie. Mr. Marshall certainly thought so.
Why, Regina, what do you think he did? Do you think he did?
Can't you tell when you're being admired?
Oscar said I bored Mr. Marshall, but he admired you. He told me so.
What did he say?
Well, he said to me, I hope your sister-in-law will come to Chicago. Chicago will be at her feet. He said the ladies would bow to your manners and the gentlemen to your looks.
Did he? He seems a lonely man. Imagine being lonely with all that money. I don't think he likes his wife.
Not like his wife? What a thing to say.
She's away a great deal. He said that several times, and once he made fun of her being so social and high-toned, but that fits in all right. Her being social, I mean. Well, she can introduce me. It won't take long with an introduction from her.
Introduce you in Chicago? You mean you really might go? Regina, you can't leave here. What about Horace?
Oh, don't look so scared about everything, Birdie. I'm gonna live in Chicago. I've always wanted to, and now there'll be plenty of money to go with.
But Horace won't be able to move around. You know what the doctor wrote.
Oh, there'll be millions, Birdie, millions. You know what I've always said when people told me we were rich? I said, I think you should either be a nigger or a millionaire. In between, like us. What for? But I'm not going away tomorrow, Birdie. There's plenty of time to worry about Horace when he comes home, if he ever decides to come home.
Will we be going to Chicago? I mean, Oscar and Leo and me?
You? I shouldn't think so. Well, we must remember tonight. It's a very important night, and we mustn't forget it. We shall plan all the things we'd like to have, and then we'll really have them. Make a wish, Birdie, any wish. It's bound to come true now.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, well, I guess I'd know right off what I wanted. Let's see.
Well, you did it.
Looks like it might be we did.
Looks like it. Oh, don't pretend. You're like a cat who's been licking the cream. Now we must all have a drink to celebrate.
Oh, my line. Okay, the children, Alexandra and Leo, make a very handsome couple, Regina. Marshall remarked himself what fine young folks they were. How well they looked together.
Yes, you said that before, Oscar.
Yes, sir. It's beginning to look as if the deal's all set. I may not be a subtle man, but... Now, somebody asked me how I know the deal is set.
What do you mean, Ben?
You remember I told him that down here we drink the last drink for a toast?
Yes, I never heard that before.
Nobody's ever heard it before. God forgives those who invent what they need. I already had his signature. We've all done business with men whose word over a glass is better than a bond. Anyway, it don't hurt to have both.
You understand what Ben means?
Yes, Oscar, I understand. I understood immediately.
Did you, Regina? Well, when he lifted his glass to drink, I closed my eyes and saw the bricks going into place.
And I saw a lot more than that.
Slowly, slowly, as yet we have only our hopes.
Birdie and I have just been planning what we want. Now, I know what I want. What will you want, Ben?
Caution. Don't count the chickens. Well, God would allow us a little daydreaming. Good for the soul when you've worked hard enough to deserve it. I think I'll have a stable. For a long time, I've had my good eyes on Carters in Savannah. A rich man's pleasure. The sport of kings. Why not the sport of Hubbards? Why not?
Why not? What will you have, Oscar?
I don't know. The pleasure of seeing the bricks grow will be enough for me.
Oh, of course. Our greatest pleasure will be to see the bricks grow, but we are all entitled to a little side indulgence.
Yes, I suppose so. Well then, I think we might take a few trips here and there, eh, Birdie?
Yes, Oscar, I'd like that.
We might even make a regular trip to Jekyll Island. I've heard the Cornerly place is for sale. We might think about buying it. Make a nice change. Do you good, Birdie? Change of climate. Fine shooting on Jekyll, the best.
I'd like...
What do you like? What would you like?
Two things. Two things I'd like most.
Two. I should like 1,000. You are modest, Birdie.
I should like to have Leonette back. I know you own it now, but I'd like to see it fixed up again the way Mama and Papa had it. Every year it used to get a nice coat of paint. Papa was very particular about the paint, and the lawn was so smooth all the way down to the river, and the lawn, and the trims of zinnias and red feather plush, and the figs and blue little plums and the scuppernongs. The organ is still there, and it wouldn't cost too much to fix it. We could have parties for them, the way Mama used to have for me.
That's a pretty picture, Birdie. Might be a most pleasant way to live. What do you want, Regina?
Well, I could have a cutting garden, just the way Mama's used to be. Oh, I do think we could be happier there. Papa used to say nobody had ever lost their temper at Leonette, and nobody ever would. Papa would not let anyone be nasty spoken or mean. No, sir, he just didn't like it.
What do you want, Regina?
I'm going to Chicago. And when I'm settled there, I know the right people and the right things to buy, because I certainly don't know now. I shall go to Paris and buy them. I'm going to leave you and Oscar to count the bricks.
Oscar, please let me have Leonette back.
You are serious about moving to Chicago?
She is going to see the great world and leave us in the little one. Well, we'll come and visit you and meet all the great and be proud you are our sister.
Oh, certainly. And you won't even have to learn to be subtle, Ben. Stay as you are. You will be rich. And the rich don't have to be subtle.
But what about Alexandra? She's 17, old enough to be thinking about marrying.
And Oscar, I just have one more wish, just one more wish.
What is it, Birdie? What are you saying?
I want you to stop shooting. I mean, so much. I don't like to see animals and birds killed just for the killing. You only throw them away.
It'll take a great deal of money to live as your planner, Regina.
Certainly. But there'll be plenty of money. You have estimated the profits very high.
I have.
And you never let anybody else shoot. And the niggers need it so much more to keep from starving. It's wicked to shoot food just because you like to shoot when poor people need it so.
I have estimated the profits very high for myself.
What did you say?
I have always wanted to speak about it, Oscar.
What are you chattering about?
I was talking about Leonette and about your shooting.
You are exciting yourself.
I didn't hear you. There was so much talking.
Been acting very childish, very excited all evening.
Regina asked me what I'd like.
What did you say, Ben?
Now that we'll be so rich, everybody was saying what they would like. So I said what I would like too.
I said.
Very well. We all heard you. That's enough now.
I am waiting. I am waiting for you to finish. You and Birdie. 4 conversations are 3 too many. I said that I had, and I do, estimate the profits very high for myself and Oscar, of course.
And what does that mean?
Well, Regina, it's like this. For 49%, Marshall will put up $400,000. For 51%, the controlling interest, mind you, we will put up $225,000 besides offering him certain benefits that our local position allows us to manage. That means that $225,000 is a lot of money.
I know the terms and I know it's a lot of money.
It is.
Then means that we are ready with our 2/3 of the money. Your third, Horace's, I mean, doesn't seem to be ready. Ben has written to Horace, I have written, and you have written. He answers, but he never mentions this business. Yet we have explained to him in great detail and told him the urgency. Still, he never mentions it. Ben has been very patient, Regina. Naturally, you are our sister, and we want you to benefit from anything we do.
And in addition to your concern for me, do You do not want control to go out of the family? That's right, Ben.
That's cynical. Cynicism is an unpleasant way of saying the truth.
No need to be cynical. We had no trouble raising the third share, the share you want to take.
I'm sure you could get the third share, the share you were saving for me. But that would give you a strange partner. And strange partners sometimes want a great deal. But perhaps it would be wise for you to find him.
Now, nobody says we want to do that. We would like to have you in, and you would like to come in.
Yes, I certainly would.
But we haven't heard from Horace.
I have given my word that Horace will put up the money. That should be enough.
Oh, it was enough. I took your word, but I've got to have more than your word now. The contracts will be signed this week, and Marshall will want to see our money soon after. Regina, Horace has been in Baltimore for 5 months. I know you've written him to come home, but that he hasn't come.
It's beginning to look as if he doesn't want to come home.
Of course he wants to come home. You can't move around with heart trouble at any moment you choose. You know what doctors are like once they get their hands on a case like this.
They can't very well keep him from answering letters, can they? They couldn't keep him from arranging for the money if he wanted to.
Has it occurred to you that Horace is also a good businessman?
Certainly. He is a shrewd trader, always has been. The bank is proof of that.
Then possibly he may be keeping silent because he doesn't think he is getting enough for his money. $75,000 he has to put up. That's a lot of money too.
Nonsense. He knows a good thing when he hears it. He knows we can make twice the profit on cotton goods manufactured here than can be made in the North.
That isn't what Regina means. May I interrupt you, Regina? Regina is saying that Horace wants more than 1/3 of our share.
But he's only putting up 1/3 of the money. You put up 1/3 and you get 1/3. What else could he expect?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about these things. It would seem that if you put up 1/3, you should only get 1/3. But then again, there's no law about it, is there? I should think that if you knew your money was very badly needed, well, you just might say, I want more. I want a bigger share. You boys have done that. I've heard you say so.
So you believe he has deliberately held out for a larger share? Well, I don't believe it, but I do believe that's what you want. Am I right, Regina?
Oh, I shouldn't like to be too definite, but I could say that I wouldn't like to persuade Horace unless he did get a larger share. I must look after his interests. It seems only natural.
And where would the larger share come from?
I don't know. That's not my business. But perhaps it could come off of your share, Oscar.
What kind of talk is this?
I haven't said a thing.
You are talking very big tonight.
Am I? Well, you should know me well enough to know that I wouldn't be asking for things I didn't think I could get.
Listen, I don't believe you can even get Horace to come home, much less money from him, or talk quite so big about what you want.
Oh, I can get him home.
Then why haven't you?
I thought I should fight his battles for him before he came home. Horace is a very sick man. And even if you don't care how sick he is,
Stop this foolish squabbling. How can you get him home?
I will send Alexandra to Baltimore. She will ask him to come home. She will say that she wants him to come home and that I want him to come home.
Well, of course she wants him here, but he's sick and maybe he's happy where he is.
You agree that he will come home if she asks him to. If she says that I miss him and want him.
I admire you, Regina, and I agree. Now, that's settled now, and
But before she brings him home, I want to know what he's going to get.
What do you want?
Twice what you offered.
Well, you won't get it.
I think you've gone crazy.
I don't want to fight, Ben.
I don't either. You won't get it. There isn't any chance of that. You're holding us up, and that's not pretty. Regina, not pretty. But we need you, and I don't want to fight. Here's what I'll do. I'll give Horace 40% instead of the 33 and a third he really should get. I'll do that, provided he is home and his money is up within 2 weeks. How's that?
All right.
I've asked before, where is this extra share coming from?
From you, from your share.
From me, is it? That's just fine and dandy. That's my reward. For 35 years, I worked my hands to the bone for you. For 35 years, I've done all the things you didn't want to do. And this is what I get.
My, I am being attacked tonight on all sides. First by my sister, then by my brother. And I ain't a man who likes being attacked. I can't believe that God wants the strong to parade their strength. But I don't mind doing it if it's got to be done. You want to take these things better, Oscar. I've made you money in the past. I'm going to make you more money now. You'll be a very rich man. What's the difference to any of us if a little more goes here, a little less goes there? It's all in the family, and it'll stay in the family. I'll never marry. So my money will go to Alexandra and Leo. They may even marry someday and...
Marry? Zan and Leo?
That would make a great difference in my feelings if they married.
Yes, that's what I mean. Of course it would make a difference.
Is that what you mean, Regina?
Oh, it's too far away. We'll talk about it in a few years.
I want to talk about it now.
Naturally.
Oh, there's a lot of things to consider. They are first cousins and...
That isn't unusual. Our grandmother and grandfather were first cousins.
And look at us.
You're both being very gay with my money.
These quarrels, I dislike them so. A marriage might be a very wise arrangement for several reasons. And then Oscar has given up something for you. You should try to manage something for him.
I haven't said I was opposed to it, but Leo is a wild boy. But there were those times when he took a little money from the bank and...
That's all past history.
Oh, I know. And I know all young men are wild. I'm only mentioning it to show you that there are considerations.
All right, so there you are. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Whose line did I tread on?
No, that was you. That's it.
So there we are, but please, no, I'm sorry, Marielana, where are we?
I think it's Ben. It says Ben.
I'm sorry.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right, so there are. But please assure Oscar that you will think about it very seriously.
Very well. I assure Oscar that I will think about it seriously.
That is not an answer.
My, you're in a bad humor, and you shall put me in one. I have said all that I am willing to say now. After all, Horace has to give his consent too.
Horace will do what you tell him.
Yes, I think he will.
And I have your word that you will try to...
Yes, Oscar, you have my word that I will think about it. Now do leave me alone.
Alexandra is only 17. She...
Oh, Mr. Marshall got off safe and sound. Weren't those fine clothes he had? You can always spot clothes made in a good place. Looks like maybe they were done in England. Lots of men in the north send all the way to England for their stuff.
Were you careful driving the horses?
Oh, yes, sir, I was.
It's a lovely night. You should have come, Aunt Birdie.
Were you gracious to Mr. Marshall?
I think so, Mama. I liked him.
Good. And now I have great news for you. You are going to Baltimore in the morning to bring your father home.
Me? Papa said I should come? That must mean, oh, Addie, it must mean he's well. Think of it. He'll be back home again. We'll bring him home.
You are going alone, Alexandra.
Going alone? Oh, that's not me.
Going alone? Going by herself? A child that age? Mr. Horace ain't going to like Zan traipsing up there by herself.
Go upstairs and lay out Alexandra's things.
You'd expect me to be along.
I'll be up in a few minutes to tell you what to pack. I should think you'd like going alone. At your age, it certainly would have delighted me. You're a strange girl, Alexandra. Addie has babied you so much.
I only thought it would be more fun if Addie and I went together.
Maybe I could go with her, Regina. I'd really like to.
She is going alone. She is getting old enough to take some responsibilities.
She'd better learn now. She's almost old enough to get married. Hey, son?
Huh?
Old enough to get married, you're thinking, eh?
Oh, yes, sir. Lots of girls get married at Zan's age. Look at Mary Presta and Joanna and...
Well, she's not getting married tomorrow, but she is going to Baltimore tomorrow. So let's talk about that. You'll be glad to have Papa home again.
I wanted to go before, Mama. You remember that, but you said you couldn't go and that I couldn't go alone.
I've changed my mind. You ought to tell Papa how much you missed him and that he must come home now for your sake. Tell him that you need him home.
Need him home? I don't understand.
There is nothing for you to understand. You are simply to say what I have told you to.
He may be too sick. She couldn't do that.
Yes, he may be too sick to travel. I couldn't make him come. Think he has to come home for me if he's too sick to.
You couldn't do what I tell you to do, Alexandra.
No, I couldn't if I thought it would hurt him.
But you are doing this for Papa's own good. You must let me be the judge of his condition. It's the best possible cure for him to come home and be taken care of here. He mustn't stay there any longer and listen to those alarmist doctors. You are doing this entirely for his sake. Tell your Papa that I want him to come home, that I miss him very much.
Yes, Mama.
I must go and start getting Alexandra ready now. Why don't you all go home?
I'll attend to the railroad ticket. One of the boys will bring it over. Good night, everybody. Have a nice trip, Alexandra. The food on the train is very good. The celery is so crisp. Have a good time and act like a little lady.
Good night, Ben. Good night, Oscar. Oh, don't be so glum, Oscar. It makes you look as if you had chronic indigestion.
Good night, Regina.
Good night, Birdie.
Come along.
Imagine you're not one to go. What a little fool you are. Wish it were me. What I could do in a place like Baltimore.
Mind your business. I can guess the kind of things you could do.
Oh, no, you couldn't.
Come on, Alexandra.
Zan.
Understand about my going, Aunt Birdie. But anyway, Papa will be home again. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. Really, I can.
That's not what I'm worried about, Zan.
What's the matter?
It's about Leo.
He beat the horses. That's why we were late getting back. We had to wait until they cooled off. He always beats the horses as if...
He's my son, my own son. But you are more to me than my own child. I love you more than anybody else.
Oh, don't worry about the horses. I'm sorry I told you.
I'm not worrying about the horses. I'm worrying about you. You are not going to marry Leo. I am not going to let them do that to you.
Marry? To Leo? I wouldn't marry Aunt Birdie. I've never even thought about it.
But they have thought about it. Saying I couldn't stand to think about such a thing. You and...
I'm not going to marry. And I'm certainly not going to marry Leo.
Don't you understand? They'll make you. They'll make you.
Foolish, Aunt Birdie. I'm grown now. Nobody can make me do anything.
I just couldn't stand it.
Birdie, get your hat and coat.
Come on, baby. Your mama's waiting for you, and she ain't nobody to keep waiting.
All right. Good night, Aunt Birdie. Good night, Uncle Oscar. Aunt Birdie, what happened? What happened?
Nothing happened. Now go to bed. Nothing happened. I twisted my ankle.
Curtain. Act 2. Same as
Sorry,
Act 1.
Bobby. I had some audio issues over there. That's why I was late on all my cues. There's like a 3-second delay. So apologies to everybody.
No worries, you're okay.
All right. Sorry, go on.
Oscar?
What is this? It's not night. What's the matter here? Fine thing at this time of the morning, blinds all closed. Where's Miss Regina? It's cold in here.
Miss Regina ain't down yet?
She had any word?
No, sir.
Wouldn't you think a girl that age could get on a train at one place and have sense enough to get off at another?
Something must have happened. If Zan say she was coming last night, she's coming last night. Unless something happened. Surefire disgrace to let a baby like that go all the way alone to bring home a sick man without...
You do a lot of judging around here, Addie, eh? Judging all you white folks, I mean.
Who's downstairs, Addie? Oh, it's you, Oscar. What are you doing here so early? I haven't been down yet. I'm not finished dressing.
You had any word from them?
No.
Then something certainly has happened. People don't just say they are arriving on Thursday night and they haven't come by Friday morning.
Oh, nothing has happened. Alexandra just hasn't got sense enough to send a message.
If nothing's happened, then why aren't they here?
You asked me that 10 times last night. My, you do fret so, Oscar. Anything might have happened. They may have... They may have missed connections in Atlanta. The train may have been delayed. Oh, 100 things could have kept them.
Where's Ben?
Oh, where should he be? At home, probably. Really, Oscar? I don't tuck him in his bed and I don't take him out of it. Have some coffee and don't worry so much.
Have some coffee? There isn't any coffee. Oh, there you are. Is everything in this fancy house always late?
You ain't out shooting this morning, Mr. Oscar?
First day I missed since I had my head cold. First day I missed in 8 years.
Yes, sir. I bet you. Simon, he say you had a mighty good day yesterday morning. That's what Simon said.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Bet you got enough Bob White and Squirrel to give every nigger in town a Jesus party. Most of them ain't had no meat since the cotton picking was over. Bet they give anything for a little piece of that meat.
Well, if I catch a nigger in this town going shooting, you know what's going to happen.
Yes, sir, Mr. Oscar. It was Simon who told me. Morning, Mr. Leo. You gentlemen having your breakfast with us?
The boys in the bank don't know a thing. They haven't had any message.
What are you doing here, son?
You told me to find out if the boys in the bank had any message from Uncle Horace or Zan.
I told you if they had a message to bring it here. I told you that if they didn't have a message, to stay at the bank and do your work.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood.
You didn't misunderstand. You just were looking for any excuse to take an hour off. You got to stop that kind of thing. You got to start settling down. You're going to be married man one of these days.
Yes, sir.
You also got to stop with that woman in Mobile. You're young. I haven't got no objections to outside women. That is, I haven't got no objections so long as they don't interfere with serious things. Outside women are all right in their place, but now isn't their place. You got to realize that.
Yes, sir. I'll tell her. She'll act all right about it.
Also, you got to start working harder at the bank. You got to convince your Uncle Horace you're going to make a fit husband for Alexandra.
What do you think has happened to them? Supposed to be here last night? Ha! I bet you Uncle Ben's mighty worried. $75,000 worried.
Ought to be worried. Damn well ought to be. First he don't answer the letters, then he don't come home.
What'll happen if Uncle Horace don't come home or don't...
Or don't put up the money. Oh, we'll get it from outside easy enough.
But you don't want any outsiders.
What do I care who gets my share? I've been shaved already. Served Ben right if you had to give away some of his.
Ah, damn shame they did it. Damn shame what they did to you.
Don't talk so loud. Don't you worry. When I die, you'll have as much as the rest. You might have yours and Alexandra's. I'm not so easily licked.
I wasn't thinking of myself, Papa.
Well, you should be. You should be. It's every man's duty to think of himself.
You think Uncle Horace don't want to go in on this?
That's my hunch. He hasn't showed any signs of loving it yet.
Ha! But he hasn't listened to Regina either. Oh, he'll go along. It's too good a thing. Why wouldn't 8,000 worth of Union Pacific bonds sitting right in his safe deposit. All he's got to do.
I didn't late breakfast in this fancy house. Yes, he's had those bonds for 15 years. Bought them when they were low and just locked them up.
He'll pop back.
Help.
His internet went out. He's going to pop right back in.
Okay.
Is it me?
No.
No. That's what I've been like. I know.
No, it's Leo. He's coming back. His internet he kicked him out. But I will read until he jumps back in. There we go. Yeah, just has to open the box and take him out. That's all. Just as easy as can be. The things in that box. There's all those bonds looking mighty fine. And right next to them is a baby shoe of Zan's and a cheap old cameo on a string. And nobody would believe this. Piece of old violin. Not even a whole violin. Just a piece of an old thing. A piece of a violin.
Piece of a violin. What do you think of that?
Yes, sirree. A lot of other crazy things too. Poem, I guess it is, signed with his mother's name, and 2 old school books with notes. And
oh, how do you know what's in the box, son?
oh well, one of the boys, sir, is one of the boys at the bank. He took old Mandler's keys. It was Joe Horn's. He just up and took the Mandler's keys and, well, took the box out. And they all asked me if I wanted to see too. So I looked a little, I guess, but then I made them close up the box real quick and I told them never.
Joe Horn just say he opened it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he did. My word of honor. I suppose that don't excuse me for looking, but I didn't make him. I did make him close it up and put the keys back in Manda's drawer.
Tell me the truth, Leo. I'm not going to be angry with you. Did you open the box yourself?
Oh, sorry, I'm losing my.
Tell me the truth, Leo. I'm not going to be angry with you. Did you open the box yourself?
I'm sorry, what page are we on?
195 at the very last part.
Okay, I'm having trouble here. Bear with me. Apologies if somebody wants to take over.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble. Okay, 195. No, sir, I didn't. I told you I didn't. No,
I am not going to be angry with you. Sometimes a young fellow deserves credit for looking around him to see what's going on. Sometimes that's a good sign in a fellow your age. Many great men have made their fortune with their eyes. Did you open the box?
No,
Did you open the box? It may have been, well, it may have been a good thing if you had.
I opened it.
Is that the truth? Does anybody else know that you opened it? Come, Leo, don't be afraid of speaking the truth to me.
No, nobody knew. Nobody was in the bank when I did it, but...
Did your Uncle Horace ever know you opened it?
He only looks in it once every 6 months when he cuts the coupons, and sometimes Manders even does that for him. Uncle Horace don't even have the keys. Manders keeps them for him. Imagine not looking at all that. You can bet if I had the bonds, I'd watch them like...
If you had them, then you could have a share in the mill, you and me. A fine big share, too. Well, a man can't be shot for wanting to see his son get on in the world, can he, boy?
No, he can't. Natural enough, but I haven't got the bonds and Uncle Horace has. And now he can just sit back and wait to be a millionaire.
You think your Uncle Horace likes you well enough to lend you the bonds if he decides not to use them himself?
Papa, it must be that you haven't had your breakfast. Lend me the bonds, my God.
No, I suppose not. Just a fancy of mine. A loan for 3 months, maybe 4. Easy enough for us to pay back then. Anyway, this is only April. If he doesn't look at them until autumn, he wouldn't even miss them out of the box.
That's it. He wouldn't even miss them. Oh, well.
No, sir. Wouldn't even miss them. How could he miss them if he never looks at them? Well, here we are sitting around waiting for him to come home and invest his money in something he hasn't lifted his hand to get. But I can't help thinking he's acting strange. You laugh when I say he could lend me the bonds if he's not going to use them himself. But would it hurt him?
No, it wouldn't.
People ought to help other people. But that's not always the way it happens. And so sometimes you got to think of yourself. Morning.
On Sunday morning. Any news from the runaways?
There's no news or you would have heard it. Quite a conversation so early in the morning, aren't you all?
You rising mighty late these days. Is that the way they do things in Chicago society?
Old Carter died up in Centerville. 81 is a good time for us all, eh? What do you think has really happened to Horace, Regina?
Nothing.
You don't think maybe he never started from Baltimore and never intends to stop?
Of course they started. Didn't I have a letter from Alexandra? What is so strange about people arriving late? He has that cousin in Savannah he's so fond of. You may have stopped to see him. Oh, they'll be along today sometime. Very flattered that you and Oscar are so worried about them.
I'm a natural worrier, especially when I'm getting ready to close a business deal and one of my partners remains silent and invisible.
Oh, is that it? I thought you were worried about Horace's health.
Oh, that too. Who could help but worry? I'm worried. This is the first day I haven't been shooting since my head cold.
Then you haven't had your breakfast. Come along.
Regina, that cousin of Horace's has been dead for years, and in any case, the train does not go through Savannah.
Did he die? You're always remembering about people dying. No, I intend to eat my breakfast in peace and read my newspaper.
This is the second breakfast for me. My first was bad. Celia ain't the cook she used to be. Too old to have taste anymore. If she hadn't belonged to Mama, I'd send her off to the country.
Uncle Horace says, Uncle Horace will have some tales to tell, I bet. Baltimore's a lively town.
The grits aren't hot enough. Take it back.
Oh, yes. Grits to know the heat. Grits to know the heat.
When I was at school, 3 of the boys and myself took a train once, went over to Baltimore. It was so big we thought we were in Europe. I was just a kid then.
I find it very pleasant to have breakfast alone. I hate chattering before I've had something hot. Stupid still, Leo.
How are you, Addie? How have you been?
I'm all right, Mr. Horace. I've just been worried about you.
Don't tell me how worried you were. We couldn't help it, and there was no way to send a message.
Yes, sir. I was mighty worried.
We had to stop in Mobile overnight. Papa didn't feel well. The trip was too much for him, and I made him stop and rest. No, don't take that. That's Father's medicine. I'll hold it. It mustn't break. Now, about the stuff outside, Papa must have his wheelchair. I'll get that, and the valises.
Since when you got to carry your own valises? Since when I ain't old enough to hold a bottle of medicine? You... Mr. Horace, you feel all right?
Glad to be sitting down.
He doesn't feel all right. He just says that. The trip was very hard on him, and now he must go right to bed.
Them fancy doctors, they give you help?
They did their best.
Oh, I bet Mama was worried. I better tell her we're here now.
Zan, not for a minute, dear.
Oh, Papa, you feel bad again? I knew you did. Do you want your medicine?
No, I don't feel that way. I'm just tired, darling. Let me rest a little.
They're all in there eating breakfast.
Oh, are they all here? Why do they always have to be here? I was hoping Papa wouldn't have to see anybody, that it would be nice for him, nice and quiet.
Then let your Papa rest for a minute.
Addie, I bet your coffee is as good as ever. They don't have such good coffee up north. Is it as good, Addie?
No. Dr. Reeves said not much coffee, just now and then. I'm a nurse now, Addie.
Oh.
Be a better one if you didn't look so dirty. Now you go take a bath. Change your linens. Get out a fresh dress. Give your hair a good brushing. Go on.
Will you be all right, Papa?
Go on.
The pills Papa must take once every 4 hours, and the bottle only if he feels very bad. Now don't move until I come back, and don't talk too much, and remember about the medicines, Addie. How's Aunt Birdie? Is she here?
It ain't right for you to have coffee. It will hurt you.
Oh, nothing can make much difference now. Get me a cup, Addie. Funny, they can't make coffee up north. They don't like red pepper either. Oh, God, that's good. You remember how I used to drink it? 10, 12 cups a day, so strong it had to strain the cup. Oh, Hattie, before I see anybody else, I want to know why Zan came to fetch me home. She's tried to tell me, but she doesn't seem to know herself.
I don't know. All I know is big things are going on. Everybody going to be high-tone rich, big rich. You too. All because smoke's going to start out of a building that ain't even up yet.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And well, Zan, maybe she going to marry Miss Theo in a little while?
What are you talking about?
That's right. That's the talk. God help us.
What's the talk?
I'm telling you, there's going to be a wedding.
Oh, go and tell them I'm home.
Now you ain't got get too excited. You're to be in your bed.
Go on, Addie. Go and say I'm back.
Miss Regina, they're home. They got here.
Horace, Horace, oh, you finally arrived.
Well, sir, you had us all mighty worried.
You're a sight for sore eyes.
Hello, Ben.
And how do you feel? Tip-top, I bet, because that's the way you're looking.
Oh, hello, Oscar. Hello, Leo. How are you?
I'm fine, sir, but a lot better now that you're back.
Now sit down. What did happen to you, and where's Alexandra? I'm so excited about seeing you that I almost forgot to ask about her.
I didn't feel good. A little weak, I guess, and we stopped overnight to rest. Dan's upstairs washing off the train dirt.
Oh, I am so sorry the trip was hard on you. I didn't think that.
Well, it's just as if I had never been away, all of you here.
Waiting to welcome you home.
Horace!
Oh, I was just wondering where you were, Birdie.
Well, I would have been here. I didn't know you were back till Simon said he saw the buggy. Oh, you don't look well, Horace. No, you don't.
Birdie, what a thing to say.
Oscar thinks I look very well.
Don't stand there holding that biscuit in your hand.
Oh, well, I'll just finish my breakfast, Uncle Horace, and then I'll give you all the news about the bank.
And what is that costume you have on?
Now that you're home, you'll feel better. Plenty of good rest, and we'll take such fine care of you. But where's Zan? I missed her so much.
I asked you, what is that strange costume you're parading around in?
Me? Oh, it's my wrapper. I was so excited about Horace, I just rushed out of the house.
Did you come across the square dressed that way? My dear Birdie,
Oh, yes, it's just like old times.
Now, no fights. This is a holiday.
Zanny.
Birdie!
Oh, tell Zan I'll be back in a little while. Sorry, Oscar.
Why don't you go finish your breakfast and let Horace rest for a minute?
Never leave a meal unfinished. There are too many poor people who need the food. Mighty glad to see you home, Horace. Fine to have you back. Fine to have you back.
Your mother has gone crazy, running around the streets like a woman.
Well, here we are. It's been a long time. 5 months. You know, Horace, I wanted to come and be with you in the hospital, but I didn't know where my duty was, here or with you. You know how much I wanted to come.
That's kind of you, Regina. There was no need to come.
Oh, but there was. 5 months lying there all by yourself. No kinfolks, no friends. Don't try to tell me you didn't have a bad time of it.
I didn't have a bad time. No, I didn't, Regina. Oh, at first, when I heard the news about myself, but after I got used to that, I liked it there.
You liked it? Isn't that strange? You liked it so well you didn't want to come home?
That's not the way to put it. But there I was, and I got kind of used to it, kind of to like lying there and thinking. I never had much time to think before, and time's become valuable to me.
Well, it sounds almost like a holiday.
Yeah, it was sort of. First holiday I've had since I was a little kid.
And here I was, thinking you were in pain, and
I was in pain.
instead you were having a holiday of thinking. Couldn't you have done that here?
I wanted to do it before I came here. I was thinking about us.
About us, about you and me, thinking about you and me after all these years. You shall tell me everything you thought someday.
Regina, why did you send Zan to Baltimore?
Why? Because I wanted you home. You can't make anything suspicious out of that, can you?
I didn't mean to make anything suspicious about it. Zan said you wanted me to come home. I was so pleased at that and touched. It made me feel good.
Touched that I should want you home?
I'm saying all the wrong things as usual. Uh, Let's try to get along better. There isn't so much more time, Regina. What's all this crazy talk I've been hearing about Zan and Leo? Zan and Leo marrying?
Oh, who gossips so much around here?
Regina?
It's some foolishness that Oscar thought up. I'll explain later. I have no intention of allowing any such arrangement. It was simply a way of keeping Oscar quiet in all this business I've been writing you about.
What has Zan to do with any business of Oscar's? Whatever it is, you had better put it out of Oscar's head immediately. You know what I think of Leo.
But there's no need to talk about it now.
There's no need to talk about it ever. Not as long as I live. Long as I live. I've been in a hospital for 5 months, yet since I've been here, you have not once asked me about my health. Well, I suppose they've written you. I can't live very long.
I've never understood why people have to talk about this kind of thing.
You misunderstand. I don't intend to gossip about my sickness. I thought it was only fair to tell you. I was not asking for your sympathy.
What do the doctors think caused your bad heart?
What do you mean?
Well, they don't think it possible, did they, that your fancy women may have?
Caused my heart to be bad? I don't think that's the best scientific theory. You don't catch heart trouble in bed.
I thought you might catch a bad conscience in bed, as you say.
I didn't tell them about my bad conscience or about my fancy women, nor did I tell them that my wife has not wanted me in bed with her for, how long is it, Regina? 10 years? Did you bring me home for this, to make me feel guilty again? That means you want something, but you're not going to make me feel guilty anymore. My thinking has made a difference.
I see that it has. It's foolish for us to fight this way. I didn't mean to be unpleasant. I was stupid.
God knows I didn't either. I come home wanting so much not to fight, and then all of a sudden there we were.
Oh, it's all my fault. I didn't ask about your illness because I didn't want to remind you of it. Anyway, I never believe doctors when they talk like that.
I understand. Well, we'll try our best with each other.
I'll try. Honestly, I will. Horace, I know you're tired, but couldn't you stay down here a few minutes longer? I want Ben to tell you something.
Tomorrow.
I'd like to now. It's very important to me. It's very important to all of us. Oh, important to your beloved daughter. She'll be a very great heiress.
Will she? That's nice.
Ben, are you finished breakfast?
Is this the mill business I've had so many letters about?
Horace would like to talk to you now.
Horace would not like to talk to you now. I'm very tired, Regina.
Please, you said we'll try our best with each other. I'll try. Really, I will. Please, do this for me now. You will see what I've done while you've been away, how I watched your interests. And I've done very well, too. But things can't be delayed any longer. Everything must be settled this week. Now, you must tell Horace all about it. Only be quick because he's very tired and must go to bed. But I think your news will be better for him than all the medicine in the world.
It could wait. Horace may not feel like talking today.
Oh, what an old faker you are. You know it can't wait. You know it must be finished this week. You've been just as anxious for Horace to get here as I've been.
I suppose I have been. And why not? Horace has done Hubbard's sons many a good turn. Why shouldn't I be anxious to help him now?
Help him. Help him when you need him, that's what you mean.
What a woman you married, Horace. Well, then, I'll make it quick. You know what I've been telling you for years, how I've always said that every one of us little Southern businessmen had great things right beyond our fingertips. It's been my dream to make those fingers grow longer. I'm a lucky man, Horace, a lucky man to dream and to live to get what you've dreamed of. That's my idea of a lucky man. For 30 years I've cried, bringing the cotton mills to the cotton. Well, finally, I got up the nerve to go to Marshall Company in Chicago.
I know all this.
Can I get you something?
Some water, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. You feel all right now?
Oh, yes, you wrote me. I know all that.
But you don't know that in the last few days, Ben has agreed to give us, a much larger share.
Really? That's very generous of him.
It wasn't so generous of me. It was smart of Regina.
I explained to Ben that perhaps you hadn't answered his letters because you didn't think he was offering you enough, and that the time was getting short, and you could guess how much he needed you.
And I could guess that he wants to keep control in the family.
Exactly. So I did a little bargaining for you and convinced my brothers that they weren't the only Hubbards who had a business sense.
Did you have to convince them of that? How little people know about each other. But you'll know better about Regina next time, eh, Ben? Now let's see. We're getting a bigger share. Who's getting less?
Oscar.
Oscar, you've grown very unselfish. What's happened to you?
Well, Oscar doesn't mind. Not worth fighting about now, eh, Oscar?
I'll get mine in the end. You can be sure of that. I got my son's future to think about.
Leo? Oh, I see. I'm beginning to see everybody will get theirs.
I knew you'd see it. 75,000, and that 75,000 will make you $1 million.
It will, Horace. It will.
I believe you. Now I can understand Oscar's self-sacrifice, but what did you have to promise Marshall Company besides the money you're putting up?
They wouldn't take promises. They wanted guarantees.
Of what?
Water power, free and plenty of it.
You got them that, of course.
Cheap. You'd think the governor of a great state would make his price a little higher. From pride, you know? Cheap wages. What do you mean by cheap wages, I say to Marshall. Less than Massachusetts, he says to me, and that averages 8 a week. 8 a week? By God, I tell him, I'd work for 8 a week myself. While there ain't a mountain white or a town nigger but wouldn't give his right arm for $3 silver every week, eh, Horace?
Oh, sure. And they'll take less than that when you get around to playing them off each other. You can save a little money that way, Ben, and make them hate each other just a little more than they do now.
What's all this about?
There'll be no trouble from anybody, white or black. Marshall said that to me. What about strikes? That's all we've had in Massachusetts for the last 3 years. I say to him, what's a strike? I never heard of one. Come south, Marshall. We got good folks, and we don't stand for any fancy fooling.
Oh, you're right. Well, looks like you made a good deal for yourselves and for Marshall, too. Your father used to say he made the thousands and you boys would make the millions. I think he was right.
Millions for us, too.
Us? You and me? I don't think so. We've got enough money, Regina. We'll just sit by and watch the boys grow rich. How's everything at the bank, Leo?
Fine, sir. Everything is fine.
How are all the ladies in Mobile? Whatever made you think I'd let Zan marry?
Do you mean that you are turning this down? Is it possible that's what you mean?
No, that's not what he means. Turning down a fortune. Horace is tired. He'd rather talk about it tomorrow.
We can't keep putting it off this way. Oscar must be in Chicago by the end of the week with the money and contract.
Sir, gotta be there end of the week. No sense going without the money.
I've waited long enough for your answer. I'm not going to wait any longer.
I'm very tired now, Regina.
Now, Horace probably has his reasons. Things he'd like explained. Tomorrow will do. I
want to know his reasons now.
I don't know them all myself. Let's leave it at that.
We shall not leave it at that. We have waited for you here like children, waited for you to come home.
So that you could invest my money. So that is why you wanted me home. Well, I had hoped. If you are disappointed, Regina, I'm sorry, but I must do what I think best. We'll talk about it another day.
We'll talk about it now, just you and me.
Please, Regina, it's been a hard trip. I don't feel well. Please leave me alone now.
I want to talk to you, Horace.
Sometimes it is better to wait for the sun to rise again. And sometimes, as our mother used to tell you, it's unwise for a good-looking woman to frown. Softness and a smile do more to the heart of men.
Let us hope she'll change his mind. Let us hope.
The paper says 27 cases of yellow fever in New Orleans. I guess floodwaters caused it. I thought they were building the levees high enough. Like the niggas say, a man born a woman can't build nothing high enough for the Mississippi.
Now, just suppose she don't change his mind. Just suppose he keeps on refusing.
His tithes is a mistake to talk to him today. He's a sick man, but he isn't a crazy one.
Just suppose he is crazy. What then?
Then we'll go outside for the money. There's plenty who would give it.
And plenty who will want a lot for what they give. The ones who are rich enough to give will be smart enough to want. That means we'd be working for them, don't it, Ben?
You don't have to tell me the things I told you 6 months ago.
Well, you're right not to worry. She'll change his mind. She always has. Maybe, but I don't believe it. I never did believe he was going in with us.
What the hell did you expect me to do?
Nothing. You done your almighty best. Nobody could blame you if the whole thing just dripped away right through her fingers. Can't do a thing. But there may be something I could do for us, or I might better say Leo could do for us. Or ain't that true, son? Ain't it true you might be able to help your own kinfolks?
Papa,
How would he help us, Oscar?
Leo's got a friend. Leo's friend owns $80,000 in Union Pacific bonds. Leo's friend don't look at the bonds much, not for 5 or 6 months at a time.
Union Pacific, Let me understand. Leo's friend would lend him these bonds, and he
would be kind enough to lend them to us.
Leo.
Yes, sir.
When would your friend be wanting the bonds back?
I don't know.
You told me he won't look at them until autumn.
Oh, that's right. But not till autumn. Uncle Horace never.
Be still.
Your uncle doesn't wish to know your friend's name.
That's a good one. Not know his name.
Shut up, Leo. He won't look at them again until September. That gives us 5 months. Leo will return the bonds in 3 months, and we'll have no trouble raising the money once the mills are going up. Will Marshall accept bonds?
Why not? Why not? Good. We are lucky. We'll take the loan from Leo's friend. I think he will make a safer partner than our sister. How soon can you get them?
Today. Right now. They're in the safe deposit box, and
I don't want to know where they are.
We will keep it secret from you.
Good. Draw a check for our part. You can take the night train for Chicago. Well, Oscar, good luck to us.
Leo will be taken care of.
I'm entitled to Uncle Horace's share. I'd enjoy being a partner in
You
the
would?
whole operation.
You can go to hell, you little.
Now, he didn't mean that. I only want to be sure he'll get something out of all of this.
Of course. We'll take care of him. We won't have any trouble about that. I'll see you at the store.
It's settled then. Come on, son.
I was only going to say what a great day this was for me, and
Go on.
Mama, don't! Uncle Ben, please go up. Please make Mama stop. Uncle Ben, he's so sick. How can Mama talk to him like that? Please make her stop.
Alexandra, you have a tender heart.
Go on up, Uncle Ben, please.
Now you see, everything is over. Don't worry, Alexandra. I want to tell your mother how sorry I am that I had to leave. And don't worry so, my dear. Married folk frequently raise their voices, unfortunately.
How can you treat Papa like this? He's sick. He's very sick. Don't you know that? I won't let you.
Mind your own business, Alexandra. How much longer can you wait for the money?
He has refused? My mother, that's too bad.
He will change his mind. I'll find a way to make him. What's the longest you can wait now?
I could wait until next week, but I can't wait until next week. I could, but I can't. Could and can't. But I must go now. I'm very late.
You're not going. I want to talk to you.
I was about to give Alexandra a message for you. I wanted to tell you that Oscar is going to Chicago tonight, so we can't be here for our usual Friday supper.
Oscar is going to show. What do you mean?
Just that. Everything is settled. He's going on to deliver to Marshall.
I demand to know what? You are lying. You are trying to scare me. You haven't got the money. How could you have it? You can't have it. You will wait until I...
You're getting out of hand. Since when do I take orders from you?
Wait, you. How can he go to Chicago? Did a ghost arrive with the money? I don't believe you. Come back here. Come back here, you.
Oh, it's a great day when you and Ben cross swords. I've been waiting for it for years.
Papa, please go back. You'll hurt yourself.
And so they don't need you. And so you will not have your millions after all.
You hate to see anybody live now, don't you? You hate to think that I'm going to be alive and have what I want.
I should have known you'd think that was the reason.
Because you're going to die. And you know you're going to die.
Mama, don't listen, Papa. Just don't listen. Just go away.
Not to keep you from getting what you want. Not even partly that. I'm sick of you, sick of this house, sick of my life here. I'm sick of your brothers and their dirty tricks to make a dime. Why should I give you the money? To pound the bones of this town and make dividends for you to spend. You wreck the town, you and your brothers. You wreck the town and live on it. Not me. Maybe it's easy for the dying, to be honest. But it's not my fault I'm dying. I'll do more harm now. I've done enough. I'll die my own way, and I'll do it without making the world any worse. I leave that to you.
I hope you die. I hope you die soon. I'll be waiting for you to die.
Papa, don't listen. Don't listen.
Act 3.
Act 3, scene same as Act 1, 2 weeks later. It's afternoon, and it's raining. At Rise, Horace is sitting near the window in a wheelchair. On the table next to him is a safe deposit box and a small bottle of medicine. Birdie and Alexandra are playing the piano. On a chair is a large sewing basket.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We once played together, Horace, remember?
What, Birdie?
We played together, you and me.
Papa used to play?
Indeed he did. He played the fiddle and very well, too.
I never knew.
Where's your mama?
Gone to Miss Safarina's to fit her dresses.
Addie, tell Cal to get on his things. I want him to go on an errand.
It's too bad it's been raining all day, Papa. But you can go out to the barn tomorrow. Don't be restless.
I'm not restless, darling.
I remember so well the time we played together, your papa and me. It was the first time Oscar brought me here to supper. I had never seen all the Hubbards together before, and you know what a ninny I am and how shy. You said you could play the fiddle, and you'd be much obliged if I'd play with you. I was obliged to you, all right, all right. Horace, you haven't heard a word I said.
Birdie, when did Oscar get back from Chicago?
Yesterday. Hasn't he been here yet?
No, neither has Uncle Ben since that day.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad. Oscar never tells me anything.
Well, the Hubbards have had their great quarrel. I knew it would come someday. Oh, it came.
It came. It certainly came, all right.
But Oscar was in such a good humor when he got home. I didn't...
Yes, I can understand that.
Addie, a party? What for?
Nothing for. I had the fresh butter, so I made cakes. And a little berry does the stomach good in the rain.
Isn't this nice? A party just for us. Let's play party music, Zan.
Come over here, Mr. Horace, and don't be thinking so much. A glass of elderberry will do more good.
Good cakes, Addie. It's nice here, just us. It'd be nice if it could always be like this.
Quiet and restful.
Well, it won't be that way long. Little while now, even sitting here, you'll hear the red bricks going into place. The next day, the smoke will push out the chimneys, and by church time that Sunday, every human born of woman will be living on chicken. That's how the Ben's been telling the story.
They believe it that way.
Believe it? They used to believing what Mr. Ben orders. There ain't been so much talk around here since Sherman's army didn't come near.
They are fools.
Born in the South, unless you're a fool.
But we didn't play together after that night. Oscar said he didn't like me to play on the piano. You know what he said that night?
Oh.
Oscar. He said that music made him nervous. He said he just sat and waited for the next note. He wasn't poking fun. He meant it. Oh well. Your papa didn't like to admit it, but he's been mighty kind to me all these years. Often he'd step in when somebody'd say something, and once he stopped Oscar from... I'm sorry I said that. Why, here I am, so happy, and yet I'm thinking bad things. That's not right now, is it?
Okay, Cal.
You want me, Mr. Horace?
What time is it, Cal?
About 10 minutes before it's 5.
All right. Now you walk yourself down to the bank.
It'll be closed. Nobody'll be there but Mr. Manders, Mr. Joe Horn, Mr. Leo.
Go in the back way. They'll be at the table going over the day's business. See that box?
Yes, sir.
You tell Mr. Manders that Mr. Horace says he's much obliged to him for bringing the box. It arrived all right.
You know you got the box. He bring it himself Wednesday. I opened the door to him and he say, "Hello, Cal, coming on southern weather."
You said just what I tell you, understand?
No, sir. I ain't going to say I understand. I'm going down and tell a man he give you something he's already know he give you, and you say understand?
Now, Cal.
Yes, sir. I just going to say you obliged for the box coming, all right. I ain't going to understand it, but I'm going to say it.
And tell him I want him to come over here after supper and to bring Mr. Saul Fowler with him.
He's to come to after supper and bring Mr. Saul Fowler, your attorney at law, with him.
That's right. Just walk right in the back room and say your piece.
Yes.
In front of everybody.
Yes, sir.
Is anything the matter, Papa?
Oh, no, nothing.
Miss Birdie, that elderberry going to give you a headache spell.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it will.
Do you want your medicine, Papa?
No, I'm all right, darling.
Mama used to give me elderberry wine when I was a little girl for hiccups. You know, I don't think people get hiccups anymore. Isn't that funny? I used to get hiccups just when I shouldn't have.
And nobody gets growing pains no more. That is funny. Just as if there was some style in what you get. One year an ailment stylish, and the next year it ain't.
I remember it was my first birthday party at Leonette, and I was so excited. And there I was with my hiccups and Mama laughing. Mama always laughed. A big party, a lovely dress from Mr. Worth in Paris, France, and hiccups. My brother pounded me on the back, and Mama with the elderberry bottle, laughing at me. Everybody was on their way to come, and I was such a ninny, hiccuping away. You know, that was the first time I ever saw Oscar Hubbard. The belongs of selling the horses, and he was going there to buy. He passed, he lifted his hat, and we could see him from the window. My brother, to tease Mama, said maybe we should have invited the Hubbards to the party. He said Mama didn't like them because they kept the store, and he said that was old-fashioned of her. And then I saw Mama, and for the first time in my life, she said that wasn't the reason. She said she was old-fashioned, but not that way. She said she was old-fashioned enough not to like people who killed animals they couldn't use and who made their money charging all interest to ignorant niggers and cheating them on what they bought. She was very angry, Mama was. Oh, I have never seen her face like that. And then suddenly she laughed. She said, "Look, I frightened Birdie out of her hiccups." So she had. They were all gone.
They got mighty well off cheating niggers. Well, there are people who eat the earth and eat all the people on it, like in the Bible with the locust. And other people who stand around and watch them eat it. Sometimes I think it ain't right to stand and watch them do it.
Like I say, if we could only go back to Leonette, everything would be better there. They'd be good and kind. I like people to be kind. Don't you, Horace? Don't you like people to be kind?
Yes, Birdie.
Yes, that was the first day I saw Oscar. Who would have thought? Y'all want to know something? Well, I don't like Leo. My very own son, and I don't like him. No, I guess I even like Oscar more.
Did you marry Uncle Oscar?
That's no question for you to be asking.
Why not? She's heard enough around here to ask anything.
I don't know. I thought I liked him. He was kind to me, and I thought it was because he liked me too. But that wasn't the reason. Ask why he married me. I can tell you that. He has told it to me enough times.
Miss Birdie don't.
My family was good, and the cotton on Leonette's fields was better. Ben Hubbard wanted the cotton, and Oscar Hubbard married it for him. He was kind to me then. He used to smile at me. He hasn't smiled at me since. Everybody knew that's why he married me. Everybody but me. Stupid, stupid me.
Papa, I mean, when you feel better, couldn't we go away? I mean, by ourselves? Couldn't we find a way to go?
Yes, I know what you mean. We'll try to find a way. I promise you, darling.
Rest a bit, Miss Birdie. You get talking like this, you'll get a headache, and
Never had a headache in my life. You know it as well as I do. I never had a head exam. That's a lie they tell for me. I drink all by myself in my own room, by myself. I drink, and then they want to hide it. They say, Birdie's got a headache again.
And Birdie.
Even you won't like me now. You won't like me anymore.
I love you. I'll always love you.
Well, don't love me, because in 20 years, you're going to be like me. They'll do all the same things to you. You know what? In 22 years, I haven't had a whole day of happiness. Oh, a little, like today with you all, but never a single whole day. I said to myself, if only I had one whole day, then, and that's the way you'll be. And you'll trail after them just like me, hoping that they won't be so mean that day or say something to make you feel so bad. Only you'll be worse off because you haven't got my mama to remember.
I guess we were all trying to make a happy day. You know, we sit around and try to pretend nothing's happened. We try to pretend we're not here. We make believe we're just by ourselves someplace else, and it doesn't seem to work. Come now, Aunt Birdie. I'll walk you home, you and me.
You and me.
well, first time I ever heard Miss Birdie say a word. Maybe it's good for her. I'm just sorry Zan had to hear it. You feel bad, don't you?
So you didn't want Zan to hear. It would be nice to let her stay innocent like Birdie at her age. Let her listen now. Let her see everything. How else is she going to know that she's got to get away? I'm trying to show her that. I'm trying, but I've only got a little time left. She can't even hate me when I'm dead. She can even hate me when I'm dead if she'll only learn to hate and fear this.
Mr. Horace.
Pretty soon there'll be nobody to help her but you.
What can I do?
Take her away.
How can I do that? Do you think they'd let me just go away with her?
I'll fix it so they can't stop you when you're ready to go. You'll go, Addie.
Yes, sir, I promise.
I'm going to have Saul Fowler make me a new will. They'll make trouble, but you make Zan stand firm, and Fowler will do the rest. Addie, I'd like to leave you something for yourself. I've always wanted to.
Don't you do that, Mr. Horace. A nigger woman in a white man's will? I never get it now, no how.
I know, but upstairs in the armoire drawer is $3,700 bills. It's money left from my trip. It's in an envelope with your name. It's for you.
It's mighty kind and good of you. I don't know what to say for thanks.
I'm back. I'm back.
So we see.
Well,
Nothing. I just went down and spoke my piece, just the way you told me. I say, Mr. Horace, he thank you mightily for the safe deposit box arriving in good shape, and he say you come right after supper to his house and bring Mr. Attorney at Law Saul Fowler with you. Then I wipe my hands on my coat. Every time I ever told a lie in my whole life, I wipe my hands right after. Well, while I'm wiping my hands, Mr. Leo, he jump up and say to me, "What box? What you talking about?"
did he?
And Mr. Leo say he got to leave a little early because he got something to do. And then Mr. Manders say Mr. Leo should sit right down and finish up his work and stop acting like somebody made him Mr. President. So we sit down. Now, just like I told you, Mr. Manders was mighty surprised with the message because he knows right well he brought the box, but he took it all right. Some men take everything easy and some do not.
Mr. Leo was telling the truth. He has got something to do. I hope Manders don't keep him too long. No, leave me where I am.
But that's Miss Regina coming back.
Go away, Addie.
Mr. Horace, don't talk no more today. You don't feel well and it won't do no good.
Oh, go on.
We had agreed that you were to stay in your part of this house and I in mine. This room is my part of the house. Please don't come down here again.
I won't.
I'll get Cal to take you upstairs.
Before you do, I wanted to tell you that after all, we have invested our money in Hubbard Sons and Marshall, cotton manufacturers.
What are you talking about? You haven't seen Ben. When did you change your mind?
I didn't change my mind. I didn't invest the money. It was invested for me.
What?
I had $88,000 worth of Union Pacific bonds in that safe deposit box. They are not there now. Go and look. Go and look, Regina. Those bonds are as negotiable as money.
What kind of joke are you playing now? Is this for my benefit?
I don't look in that box very often, but 3 days ago on Wednesday it was, because I had made a decision.
I want to know what you are talking about.
Don't interrupt me again. Because I had made a decision, I sent for the box. The bonds were gone, $88,000 gone.
Do you think I'm crazy enough to believe what you're saying?
Believe anything you like.
Where did they go?
They are in Chicago with Mr. Marshall, I should guess.
What did they do? Walk to Chicago? Have you really gone crazy?
Leo took the bonds.
I don't believe it.
I wasn't there, but I could guess what happened. This fine gentleman with whom you were bargaining your daughter took the keys and opened the box. You remember that the day of the fight, Oscar went to Chicago? Well, he went with my bonds that his son Leo had stolen for him and for Ben.
When did you find out that the bonds were gone?
Wednesday night.
I thought that's what you said. Why have you waited 3 days to do anything? Oh, this will make a fine story.
Couldn't it?
A fine story to hold over their heads. How could they be such fools?
But I'm not going to hold it over their heads.
What?
I'm going to let them keep the bonds as a loan from you. An $88,000 loan. They should be grateful to you. They will be, I think.
I see. You are punishing me. But I won't let you punish me. If you won't do anything, I will. Now.
You won't do anything because you can't. It won't do you any good to make trouble, because I shall simply say that I lent them the bonds.
You would do that?
Yes, for once in your life, I am tying your hands. There is nothing for you to do.
I see. You are going to lend them the bonds and let them keep all the profit they make on them, and there is nothing I can do about it. Is that right?
Yes.
Why did you say that I was making this gift?
I was coming to that. I'm going to make a new will, Regina, leaving you $88,000 in Union Pacific bonds. The rest will go to Zan. It's true that your brothers have borrowed your share for a little while. After my death, I advise you to talk to Ben and Oscar. They won't admit anything, and Ben, I think, will be smart enough to see that he's safe, because I knew about the theft and said nothing. Nor will I say anything as long as I live. Is that clear to you?
You will not say anything as long as you live.
That's right. And by the time, they will probably have replaced your bonds, and then they'll belong to you, and nobody but us will ever know what happened. They'll be around any minute to see what I am going to do. I took good care to see that word reach Leo. They'll be mighty relieved to know I'm going to do nothing, and Ben will think it all a capital joke on you, and that will be the end of that. There's nothing you can do to them, nothing you can do to me.
You hate me very much.
No.
Oh, I think you do. Well, we haven't been very good together. Anyway, I don't hate you either. I have only contempt for you. I've always had.
From the very first,
I think so.
I was in love with you. But why did you marry me?
I was lonely when I was young.
You were lonely?
Well, not the way people usually mean. Lonely for all the things I wasn't going to get. Everybody in this house was so busy. There was so little place for what I wanted. I wanted the world. Then Papa died and left the money to Ben and Oscar.
And you married me?
Yes, I thought, but I was wrong. You were a small town clerk then. You haven't changed.
And that wasn't what you wanted.
No, it wasn't what I wanted. It took me a little while to find out. I had made a mistake. As for you, I don't know. It was almost as if I couldn't stand the kind of man you were. I used to lie that night, praying you wouldn't come near.
Really? It was as bad as that?
Remember when I went to Dr. Sloan and I told you he said that there was something the matter with me and that you shouldn't touch me anymore?
I remember.
But you believed it. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that anybody could be such a soft fool. That was when I began to despise you.
Well, why didn't you leave me?
I told you I married you for something. It turned out it was only for this. This wasn't what I wanted, but it was something. I never thought about it much, but if I had, I'd have known that you would die before I would. But I couldn't have known that you would get heart trouble so early and so bad. I'm lucky, Horace. I've always been lucky. I'll be lucky again.
Please, tell Addie the other bottle's upstairs. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Please. Horace? Addie, Cal, come in here. He's had an attack. Come up here.
My God, Mr. Horace.
Be still, Cal. Bring him in here.
Addie, what?
Go upstairs. I'm going for the doctor. Go upstairs. Leo?
Hold on, yeah. Okay, hello. Never any use ringing a bell when the door was open. If you're gonna ring a bell, then somebody should answer it. And Regina? Addie? Where the hell? Cal? Cal?
Mr. Leo, Regina says you stopped that screaming noise.
Where is everybody?
Mr. Horace, he got an attack. He's bad. Miss Regina says you stopped that noise.
Uncle Horace, what? What happened? But when? You seen Mr. Oscar or Mr. Ben? Answer me, will you?
No, I ain't seen him. I ain't got time to answer you. I gotta get things.
But what's the matter with him? When did this happen? You'd think Papa would be some place where you could find him. I've been chasing him all afternoon. Papa, I've been looking all over town for you and Uncle Ben.
Where is he?
They just told us it was a sudden attack and...
Where is he? When did it happen?
Upstairs. Will you listen to me, please? I've been looking for you for...
You think we should go up?
I don't know. I don't
But he
know.
was all right. He was all right.
Will you listen to me?
What is the matter with you?
I've been trying to tell you. I've been trying to find you for an hour.
Tell me what?
Uncle Horace knows about the bonds. He knows about them. He's had the box since Wednesday.
Stop shouting. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm telling you, he knows about the bonds. Ain't that clear enough?
You goddamn fool, stop screaming. Now what happened? Talk quietly.
You heard me. Uncle Horace knows about the bonds. He's known since Wednesday.
How do you know that?
Because Cal comes down to Manda's and says the box came okay, and...
That might not mean a thing.
No, it might not, huh? Then he says Manda should come here tonight and bring Saul Fowler with him. I guess that don't mean a thing either.
And what? Do you think he's seen the...
There's the box. Put it, you ass. Put it down. What are you gonna do with it? Eat it?
I'm gonna...
Put it down. Put it down. Don't touch it again. Now sit down and shut up for a minute.
Since Wednesday? You said he had it since Wednesday? Why didn't he say something? I don't understand.
I can put it back. I can put it back before anybody knows.
He's had it since Wednesday, yet he hasn't said a word to us?
Why? Why?
What's the difference? Why? He was getting ready to say plenty. He was going to say it to Fowler tonight.
Be still.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe it. What do I care what you believe? I do the dirty work, and then...
I'm remembering that. I'm remembering that, Leo.
What do you mean?
If you don't shut that little fool up, I'll show you what I mean. For some reason he knows, but he don't say a word.
Maybe he didn't know that we...
Leo, that Leo, he's no fool. Does Manders know the bonds are missing?
How could I tell? I was half crazy. I don't think so, because Manders seemed kind of puzzled, and...
But we gotta find out.
How is he, Cal?
I don't know, Mr. Ben. He was bad.
But when did it happen?
He wasn't feeling that early. Then there he is next thing on the landing, falling over, his eyes tight.
Dr. Sloan's over at the ballons. Hitch the buggy and go get him. Go on.
Never seen Sloan anywhere when you need him.
Sounds bad.
He would have told her about it. Aunt Regina. He would have told his own wife.
Yes, he might have told her, but they weren't on such pretty terms, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. Now listen to me. If she doesn't know, it may work out all right. If she does know, you ought to say he lent you the bonds.
Lent them to me? Who's going to believe that?
Nobody.
Don't you understand? It can't do no harm to say it.
Why should I say he lent them to me? Why not to you? Why not to Uncle Ben?
Just because he didn't lend them to me. Remember that.
But all he has to say is that he didn't lend them to me, and...
But for some reason, he doesn't seem to be talking, does he? What happens?
He's had a bad attack.
Too bad. I'm sorry we weren't here when Horace needed us.
When you needed us.
Yes.
How is he? Can we go up?
He's not conscious.
It's that bad. Wouldn't you think Sloan could be found quickly just once? Just once!
I don't think there's much for him to do.
Don't talk like that. He's come through attacks before. He will now.
Well, we haven't seen each other since the day of our fight.
That was nothing. Why, you and Oscar and I used to fight when we were kids.
Don't you think we should grow up? Is there anything we can do for Horace?
You don't feel well.
No, I don't. Horace told me about the bonds this afternoon.
The bonds? What do you mean? What bonds? What?
The Union Pacific bonds? Horace's Union Pacific bonds?
Yes.
Well, what? What about them? What could he say?
He said that Leo had stolen the bonds and given them to you.
That's ridiculous, Regina. Absolutely.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I? Why?
Isn't it enough that he stole them? Do I have to listen to this in the bargain?
You are talking.
I didn't steal anything. I don't know why you would say.
Would you ask them to stop that, please?
Aren't we starting at the wrong end, Regina? What did Horace tell you?
He told me that Leo had stolen the bonds.
I didn't steal.
Please, let me finish. Then he told me that he was going to pretend that he had lent them to you as a present from me to my brothers. He said there was nothing I could do about it. He said the rest of his money would go to Alexandra. That is all.
I told you he had lent them. I could have told you that.
Oh, I'm very badly off, you see. Horace said there was nothing I could do about it as long as he was alive to say he had lent you the bonds.
You shouldn't feel that way. It can all be explained, all be adjusted. It isn't as bad as...
So you at least are willing to admit the bonds were stolen?
I admit no such thing. It's possible that Horace made up that part of the story to tease you, or perhaps to punish you. Punish you!
It's not a pleasant story. I feel bad, Ben, naturally. I hadn't thought.
Now you shall have the bonds safely back. That was the understanding. Wasn't it, Oscar?
Yes.
I'm glad to know that. I had greater hopes.
Don't talk that way. That's foolish. I think we ought to drive out for Sloan ourselves. If we can't find him, we'll go over to Centerville for Dr. Morris. And don't think I'm dismissing this other business. I'm not. We will have it all out on a more appropriate day.
I don't think you had better go yet. I think you had better stay and sit down.
We'll be back with Sloan.
Hal has gone for him. I don't want you to go.
Now, don't worry. And
you will come back in this room and sit down. I have something more to say.
Since when do I take orders from you?
You don't. Yet. Come back, Oscar. You too, Leo.
My dear Regina.
Horace has already clipped your wings, and very wittily. Do I have to clip them too? You get farther with a smile, Regina. I'm a soft man for a woman's smile.
I'm smiling, Ben. I'm smiling because you are quite safe while Horace lives. But I don't think Horace will live. And if he doesn't live, I shall want 75% in exchange for the bonds.
Oh, God, greedy, what a greedy girl you are. You want so much of everything.
Yes, and if I don't get what I want, I am going to put all three of you in jail.
You're mighty crazy. Haven't just admitted.
And in what evidence would you put Oscar and Leo in jail?
Oscar, listen to him. He's getting ready to swear that it was you and Leo. What do you say to that? Oh, don't be angry, Oscar. I'm going to see that he goes in with you.
Try anything you like, Regina. And now we can stop all this and say goodbye to you. It's his money, and he's obviously willing to let us borrow it. Learn to make threats when you can carry them through. For how many years have I told you a good-looking woman gets more than by being soft and appealing? Mama used to tell you that. Where the hell is Sloan? Take the buggy and...
What, Alexandra? Is it my line?
Yes.
What, Alexandra? Well, what's... My God, I didn't know. Who could have known? I didn't know that he was that sick. Well,
It seems like yesterday when he first came here.
Yes, that's true. The whole town loved him and respected him.
Did you love him, Uncle Oscar?
Certainly. What a strange thing to ask.
You love him, Uncle Ben?
Alexandra,
And you, Mama, did you love him too?
I know what you feel, Alexandra, but please try to control yourself.
Oh, I'm trying, Mama. I'm trying very hard.
grief makes some people laugh and some people cry. It's better to cry, Alexandra.
What was Papa doing on the staircase?
Please go and lie down, my dear. We all need time to get over shocks like this. Please go, Alexandra.
No, Mama, I'll wait. I've got to talk to you.
Later. Go and rest now.
I'll wait, Mama. I've plenty of time.
As I was saying, tomorrow morning I am going up to Judge Sims. I shall tell him about Leo.
Not in front of the child, Regina, I think.
I didn't ask her to stay. Tomorrow morning I go to Judge Sims.
And what proof? What proof of all this?
None. I won't need any. The bonds are missing and they are with Marshall. That will be enough. If it isn't, I'll add what's necessary.
I'm sure of that.
Oh, you can be quite sure.
We'll deny.
Deny your heads off. You couldn't find a jury that wouldn't weep for a woman whose brothers steal from her. And you couldn't find 12 men in this state you haven't cheated and who hates you for it.
What kind of talk is this? You couldn't do anything like that. We're your own brothers. How can you talk that way when upstairs not 5 minutes ago?
Where was I? Well, they'll convict you, but I won't care much if they don't, because by that time you'll be ruined. I shall also tell my story to Mr. Marshall, who likes me, I think, and who will not want to be involved in your scandal. A respectable firm like Marshall and Company, the deal would be off in an hour. And you know it. Now, I don't want to hear any more from any of you. You'll do no more bargaining in this house. I'll take my 75% and we'll forget the story forever. That's one way of doing it, and the way I prefer. You know me well enough to know that I don't mind taking the other way.
None of us has ever known you well enough, Regina.
We're getting old, Ben. Your tricks aren't as smart as they used to be. All right, I take it that it's settled and I'll get what I asked for.
You going to let her do this?
You have a suggestion?
No, he hasn't. All right. Now, Leo, I have forgotten that you ever saw the bonds. And as long as you boys both have behaved yourselves, I've forgotten that we ever even talked about them. You can draw up the necessary papers tomorrow. Oh, you're a good loser, Ben. I like that.
Well, I say to myself, what's the good? You and I aren't like Oscar. We're not sour people. I think that comes from a good digestion. Then, too, one loses today and wins tomorrow. I say to myself, years of planning and I get what I want. Then I don't get it. But I'm not discouraged. The century's turn. The world is open for people like you and me, ready for us, waiting for us. After all, this is just the beginning. There are hundreds of Hubbards sitting in rooms like this throughout the country. All their names aren't Hubbard, but they are all Hubbards, and they will own this country someday. We'll get along.
I think so.
Then, too, I say to myself, things may change. I agree with Alexandra. What is a man in a wheelchair doing on a staircase? I ask myself that.
And what do you answer?
I have no answer, but maybe someday I will. Maybe never, but maybe someday. And when I do, I'll let you know.
When you do, write me. I will be in Chicago. Ah, Ben, if Papa had only left me his money.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, yes, certainly. You'll be sort of working for me now.
Alexandra, you're turning out to be a right interesting girl. Well, good night, all.
What do you want to talk to me about, Alexandra?
Changed my mind. I don't want to talk.
You're acting very strange, not like yourself. You've had a bad shock today. I knew that. And you loved Papa, but you must have expected this to come someday. You knew how sick he was.
I knew. We all knew.
It would be good for you to get away from here. Good for me, too. Time heals most wounds. Alexandra, you're young. You shall have all the things I wanted. I'll make the world for you the way I wanted it to be for me. Oh, don't sit there staring. You've been around Birdie so much, you're getting just like her.
Funny, that's what Aunt Birdie said today.
Be good for you to get away from all this.
Cal is back, Miss Regina. He says Dr. Sloan will be coming in a few minutes.
We'll leave in a few weeks. A few weeks. That means 2 or 3 Saturdays, 2 or 3 Sundays. Well, I'm very tired. I shall go to bed. I don't want any supper. Put the lights out and lock up. You go to your room, Alexandra. Addie will bring you something hot. You look very tired. Oh, call me when Dr. Sloan gets here. I don't want to see anybody else. I don't want any condolence calls tonight. The whole town will be over.
Mama, I'm not going with you. I'm not going to Chicago.
You're very upset, Alexandra.
I mean what I say with all my heart.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. The morning will make a difference.
It won't make any difference, and there isn't anything to talk about. I am going away from you because I want to, because I know Papa would want me to.
You know your Papa wanted you to go away from me?
Yes.
And if I say no?
Say it, Mama. Say it and see what happens.
And if I make you stay?
That would be foolish. It wouldn't work in the end.
You're very serious about it, aren't you? Well, You'll change your mind in a few days.
No.
Alexandra, I've come to the end of my rope. Somewhere there has to be what I want to. Life goes too fast. Do what you want. Think what you want. Go where you want. I'd like to keep you with me, but I won't make you stay. Too many people used to make me do too many things. No, I won't make you stay.
You couldn't, Mama, because I want to leave, as I've never wanted anything in my life before. Because now I understand what Papa was trying to tell me. All in one day, Addie said there were people who ate the earth and other people who stood around and watched them do it. And just now, Uncle Ben, he said the same thing. He said the same thing. Well, tell him for me, Mama, I'm not going to stand around and watch you do it. I'll be fighting as hard as he'll be fighting. Someplace else.
Well, you have spirit after all. I used to think that you were all sugar water. We don't have to be bad friends. I don't want us to be bad friends, Alexandra. Would you like to come and talk to me, Alexandra? Would you? Would you like to sleep in my room tonight?
Are you afraid, Mama?
Oof.
Waiting
What
for
a-
Regina
what-
to sing Rose's turn.
What a fabulous script.
Yay, I love this place so much.
Sorry about the tech stuff on my end. I had people 3 seconds behind. I apologize if I was missing cues.